And welcome back. So far we've covered all the basic data types and strings and some other stuff, talking about sizes and measurements. And we've been able to type in literals and declare constants and do some basic math with it. But what happens if we want to have something a little more fun, something that actually has interaction with the user? Well, if we wanted to say find the square footage of a room, you're going to need a few variables for that. And I'll declare these as int. So we'll have the length, and we'll initialize that to 0, and we'll have the width, and initialize that to 0. And what we've been doing in the past is just declaring literals to hold this, but in this case we want to have some sort of interactive program to allow the user to actually put in the length and the width. To be able to do that, you need to be able to capture information from, in this case, the keyboard with standard input. So what we're going to do first, well, let's do this. Square feet. What we're going to do first is we have to ask the user for the information. This is called a prompt. It's the standard out and you'll notice here that unlike the other typical output lines, I'm not putting an end line. I want this to show up on the screen and then leave the cursor blinking after the space that I put after the colon. So enter the length of the room. To be able to capture the length of the room, we need to be able to use input, which if cout is output, cin is input. And the insertion operator up here inserts this into the output. The extraction operator extracts from the buffer the information that you had the user type in and drop it inside the variable that it finds. So what's going to happen is you'll type in a number, and then cin will extract that and drop it inside the length variable. And we're going to want to repeat that. Like this. Same thing. So what I have in my code is the declaration of my variables. I have a result variable that's the square footage down here. And right here I've got the length and the width being captured. So if you look at it this way, in terms of style of coding, there's a declaration of variables. This is the loading section, where you're actually going to load information in from somewhere. In this case, we're loading it in from the standard in, which is a keyboard. We can, later on in the course, we'll be doing loads from files and other places, but this is the primary area. The next thing, of course, if we have input, we have the middle section is the processing, input, process, output. And that's simply going to be square foot equals the length times the width. So declare, load, process, and output. Now you can kind of see that these lines tend to get really long, and the Google style document that defines how to write code, at least according to Google, says basically that you only have really 80 characters to play with, and you shouldn't make it much longer than that because it makes it harder to read. One of the neat things about C++ is, like I had said earlier, is the white space is ignored. So I can actually come in here and give myself a nice pretty stack of output statements. And all of this is still one sentence, just nicely formatted so you can read the whole thing. And with that, we actually have the output of our program. And let's give it a run. Now, if you're in CLion like I am, I always make this mistake and I start typing up here. You need to come down to the control panel part down here where the actual command is being run and put in the size of the room here and then the size of the room here, and it gives you the answer. So it'll show you the length of the room is 12, the width of the room is 12. I entered those two numbers and it gave me my output at 144 square feet, an answer that I knew would happen. You'll find on Windows and some other implementations that the 12 will be duplicated. It'll show up a couple of times. It's just a side effect of the way that this is actually running inside of CLion. And there we have basic input. It can read anything. So if you wanted to add in something like a name, we could actually ask someone for their name without the comment part. And then say at the very end here, and actually I'll just show you right now, we can, via the use of control codes, use the /n to simplify things a little bit. So now we're going to tell you your name back. We have calculated your room square foot. The size of your room is, and actually let's put a period just so it looks a little bit better. Oh, it failed for a reason. Oh, semicolon. The dreaded death by semicolon. My name is Bob. 12, 12. And there goes Bob. We have calculated your room square foot. The size of your room is 144 square feet. So not just integers, but floats, doubles, anything can be taken with this system and dropped right into your code as the load section, processed according to how you need to, then output as you want. And that's the basics of how CN takes input and uses it inside your code by storing it. We'll cover some more details about it because CN has a couple of quirks, and we'll show you a little bit about how that works here in a bit. Have a wonderful day.